Buffalo. Thrown down. Brian Burns gets there. Spider-Man.
What a pass rush by Burns. See how quickly he got to the edge and got
This is Desmond Johnson on the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast, here on the Bleav Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network for professionals. Do you Bleav? If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate the show on iTunes. We're available in your favorite directories: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Luminary, and TuneIn. You can also find us at Bleav.com and at Bleav Podcast on Twitter.
And welcome to a brand new edition of the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast, brought to you by Bleav Podcast Networks. I am your host, Desmond Johnson, along with Schuyler, Callihan, beat writer for the Panthers for Sports Illustrated, and the Panthers' all-time leading rusher in Jonathan Stewart. It is week 1. We are excited. We're able to finally preview a game that actually is going to count, and we're going to actually do that for you today as the Panthers will take on the Atlanta Falcons at 1 o'clock Sunday on the road at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. We'll get you ready for that. Our keys to the game, who we need to stop for the Falcons, offense, defensively, and we'll predict the Panthers player of the game. Marquis Haynes went on IR this week. We'll discuss that a little bit and what that means for the depth for the Panthers defense. And, of course, the Brian Burns contract dispute of sorts. We'll get the latest from Schuyler from what he knows, and we'll get a little insight from Jay Stu in terms of what does this mean in terms of Burns' availability on Sunday? Is he holding out? Like, what are the odds? We'll get into all that too. So we hit it from all different angles today with that. And then, of course, since it's our week before week 1, our annual NFC AFC division winners and wildcards, we'll try to pick out a playoff field. We'll try to pick out a Super Bowl matchup between the three of us. Last week, if you missed it, we went 10-7 on our picks for the Panthers. So that squarely puts them in the conversation to participate this week in this wild card / division thing. I don't know if it's enough to win the division, but we'll get to that here shortly as well. So a loaded Bleav in Panthers. You can comment on the show like Chris Shepard here. Just go to our video at the Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio, or you can go to the Tobacco Road Sports Radio Facebook page and watch it on Facebook Watch Live. Comment in the comment section underneath. It'll pop up below like this, and we'll be able to respond to it. So you can actually ask us questions live while we're on the air. Before we get into all that stuff that I just said, quick word from our friends at BetOnline. BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. And where we'll start is the biggest news coming out of Charlotte this week, and that is I don't know if it's a hold in, because he's actually there. He's just not practicing. Brian Burns. Give us the latest on this, Schuyler, in terms of what's being reported, because there's a lot of reporting and there's a lot of people with just opinions that aren't reporters that are out there like, oh, this is why this happened. This is why that's happening. Why do you think that Burns waited until now to kind of hold out from practices when the negotiations have been going on through training camp?
Yeah, I mean, he said, I can't remember if it was after one of the preseason games or if it was some point during practice, or after one of the practices, he said, that's my goal, is to be here. It's for my team. I want to be here for my brothers. But at a certain point, a business is a business. And you got to kind of make those tough business decisions. And when you get to this point in the year and he feels like he and his team probably feel like he should have already had a deal done by now, it can get frustrating. And I know there's a lot of being tied with, the Bosa potential deal and the Niners. And, if they're waiting for that to get done, I don't think we're going to get a new Burns deal anytime soon, because I think Bosa is going to take that thing into the offseason, because I don't think they're close on anything either. So from my understanding, the Tues guys, they've been talking for several months. They've never really been close on anything. We kind of heard that over the last few weeks, and it kind of sounds like that's still the case. He's going to get north of $30 million. I mean, that is what it's going to be. Now, is it 30, is it 31? I don't know. But Bosa is the guy that's going to reset the market. He's probably looking at $33, $34, $35 million a year. And if you're Brian Burns, you kind of want to wait as long as you can to see if something in San Fran can get done. Because again, like I mentioned last week, if you get a deal done and then 2 days later Bosa gets something done, that might not look as equal or as a fair share of what you're getting compared to what Bosa is getting. So you want to wait, if you're Burns, to see what that reset market looks like. The Panthers are like, hey, let's get this thing done now before we have to spend a few more $1 million. So it's going to take some time. I don't know. We talked to Shaq Thompson in the locker room yesterday. He felt confident that Burns was going to be back at practice Wednesday. Whether that meant a deal gets done by then or not, I don't know. But there's also a rumor that has floated out there that they're going to be naming team captains tomorrow. So does that have something to do with maybe Brian Burns getting a deal done before that happens? So because typically we would have already heard team captains by now, I think, just judging on past years. So that may have something to do with it too. But he says he has a gut feeling that he'll be back at practice Wednesday. He needs to be back at practice Wednesday, and that he's going to be playing in the game on Sunday. But again, that doesn't mean that a deal will get done. We did see Brian in the locker room yesterday. He just kind of went right on by, just kept his eyes forward, didn't talk to reporters. And sometimes, people will try to get stuff out of him. But I'm one of these guys that I can clearly tell if he's not going to say anything, I'm not going to bug him. You know what I mean? He's already knowing that he's not going to speak. So if I can tell that, I'm just going to let him go. And a few guys try to get something out of him. He just kind of kept going on about his business and went into one of the meeting rooms. So
you got nothing to say, none of y'all right now.
No.
ain't talking. You said $30 million, and that immediately made me go pull up the salaries for defensive ends in the NFL right now. Myles Garrett at 25 per, Max Crosby at 23.5. So yeah, you're looking at Bosa and Burns kind of. I mean, they're really going to reset the market in that aspect. Stu, from a player's perspective, how do you think? What do you think the vibe is in the locker room regarding Burns not being there for the preparation for the Falcons? Do you think that they're with him, or they don't understand it, or I kind of feel like there's a player fraternity where they're all kind of rooting for him to get his deal done, but I'd imagine it's a bit distracting too, right?
It's not distraction. It's not a distraction. I mean, it's the beginning of the year. I think, first of all, Brian Burns has gone about this the right way. I mean, showing up to practice without a deal, knowing that he should be having a deal coming his way, and really putting his body at risk. You know what I'm saying? He can get injured. There's a lot of things that could happen that could prevent him from ultimately getting, his next big deal in the situation that he's in, especially with preseason and all that. Those are the things that guys, have lingering over their heads. And so, as a player in the locker room, I'm looking at a guy that is well deserving of getting paid as the top defensive end in the league. And so, I mean, without Burns on that defensive line, they're a different defensive line and a different defensive unit.
Yeah.
And then, you add a lot of pieces to the puzzle for this offseason to strengthen that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you get Von Bell, someone that can cover, the secondary and bring the hat, the hard hat, as we saw in preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a lot of physical elements in this defense that makes Brian Burns really special this year. And so, I mean, I understand it's a business. The guys in the locker room understand it's a business. It's just unfortunate that it's taken this long, for, certain parties to make decisions on what's going to happen.
On one hand, I understand where both sides are coming from, because you don't want to do this, too fast and you underpay him or overpay him for that matter. You don't want to give him $40 million if you didn't have to, but you don't want to give him or ask him to take 23 or whatever when that's not going to be where he should be properly slotted. Would you say he's a top 5 defensive end right now in the league?
Question. No question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
pay that man his money.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, I think
agree.
so. I think also too, sometimes you got to look at this scenario as like, this is a good problem to have. At some point, you just got to look at your squad and say, comparing Brian Burns to the rest of the National Football League, we have one of the top pass rushers in the league. And what this game is calling for is pass rushers. Get to the quarterback. Like,
yeah,
you don't get to the quarterback in this league, it's going to be scoring all day. It's going to be all kinds of stuff that you can't, defend in the secondary. So you got to get to the quarterback. And if you have one of the best in the business, get him paid the right way.
And I'll say this too, like, I don't get the sense that this is going to snowball into something where it's going to lead into a trade demand, or, he's going to force his way out, or the Panthers are going to look to trade him. Like, that's not going to happen. I don't think we're ever going to get there. Both of these sides really want this to work long-term. Brian has said from the get-go he wants to be here in Carolina. Scott Fitter has echoed the same things as Youre Evra, Frank Reich. This is going to get done. It's just a matter of when it's going to get done. Now, there is that franchise tag that could come into play next year. But again, that's something that they can't even make that decision on until next offseason. And I think someone asked in the comments if Burns would be okay with playing under the franchise tag. My answer for him is hell no. Like, no one wants to play under the franchise tag. You want that long-term secure job security, number one. And number two, anything can happen in that year where he's playing under the tag. If he gets hurt in that year that he's playing under the tag, there goes that big payday. So
and then he's going to be treated like a running back. We don't want these guys being treated like running backs.
Keep getting tagged over and over again. Like, wasn't it Kirk Cousins that had like 3 straight years of being tagged or something?
Yeah, he made
that was ridiculous.
An obscene amount of guaranteed money, like $150 million or something in guaranteed money in like 3 years or something nuts with and didn't win a playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I mean, it is, the market's crazy, but defensive end, I'd put defensive end.
It's a premier position.
Yeah, like, because I'm thinking quarterback, left tackle, probably defensive end, like number 3 in terms of how they're paid and how upper management views them in terms of like importance on the roster. Quarterback, you gotta have a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to do anything. You need a left tackle if you got a quarterback, because you need to protect them. That's shout out to Lawrence Taylor. And then defensive end,
you got to get to the ball.
I mean, like,
get to the man with the ball.
One dude changed the trajectory of like value of 2 different positions in the league, pretty much, in Lawrence Taylor, in my opinion, in left tackle and defensive end, where now you got to have one of each to really compete. And
I think too, what Carolina is wrestling is, if you look at some of the unrestricted free agents that they're going to have next offseason, they've got a lot of decisions to make. I mean, you were talking Frankie Louvu's out there. I believe Jeremy Chinn's going to be due for a new contract because he doesn't have that 5th-year option. He was a 2nd-round draft pick.
That's right.
And you've got a few other guys too. I can't remember off the top of my head for some reason today, but there's a handful of guys that are going to be worth being paid. DJ Chark, obviously a 1-year deal. If he has a big year, you're going to want him back.
Yeah. So Justin Houston's on a 1-year deal here, isn't he?
Justin Houston, yeah.
And then Derek Brown was in the same class as Jeremy Chinn, wasn't he? But he was a 1st-rounder. So
yeah, he's got that 5th-year option.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so it's a good position to be in, where we're sitting there talking about, we don't want to lose talent. You know what I mean? Like, it's better than having a team where it's like, man, where's the talent? Like, nobody wants to come here. Nobody wants to play here. Like, where'd all our draft picks go? But we kind of knew it, like, when we were drafting all these players a couple years back. It was like, okay, down the road, there's going to be a year where there's like 4 or 5 dudes, like, at the same time, that we got to figure out
how to pay them all.
Yeah, you got to pay them. If we want to keep them, if they're good, then you got to pay them all. So I think Burns will get money.
Yeah, I will say, man, like, the season is upon us. Like, you got to – Bosa, once he's paid, once they figure that out, we're not going to be too far behind it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we just pull a trigger either. So
yeah. And the thing with that is and what Stu's saying is, like, because once Bosa resets the market, if Burns doesn't have a deal done, well, there's the benchmark right there. That's what it is. The Panthers have no leverage at all anymore once that Bosa deal gets done, because Burns is going to be able to look what Bosa's getting. I'm almost as good as him, or you could argue I'm just as good as him. Give me what he wants, or maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, Pay that Spider-Man, man.
Yeah, man. It feels like that's what's happening where the Panthers feel like they don't want to pay too much. If they can get away with saving a couple dollars here and there,
Yeah,
cool
it's a
with
business.
So, yeah,
it's
so
a
they
business.
can get it.
That's why the NFL is the NFL, because the management of money.
Yeah. Our guy Sonny DeVizio says, speaking of Luvu, shout out to him for gaining U.S. citizenship today. So congratulations, Oos. You're now an official U.S. citizen. Go out there and get me 12 sacks, baby.
Yeah, go Oos. Welcome.
Go for it.
I saw
on that.
He was at Krispy Kreme's this morning down in South End or Noda, I think.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme need to get back on that Victory Monday. Giving away free donuts.
Yo, hey, maybe we need to talk to Krispy Kreme. We were talking.
Krispy Kreme.
Maybe, hey.
Krispy Kremes. This is Jonathan Stewart speaking here. If you can go ahead and choose us to be your ambassadors for this year, we will do it. Victory Monday, free donuts for all Carolina Panther fans.
We want to make it happen. And we'll put it out there each week. So let me see. I'm gonna track down who I need to talk to at Krispy Kreme. We'll see if we make this happen. If you're just joining us at the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast here on Bleav Podcast Networks, it is finally week 1. We are no longer in preseason, which means we can actually preview an actual game. We'll get to that in just a sec. Before we do that, though, injury report time. Marquis Haynes placed on injured reserve on Monday, continuing to deal with a back injury. Head coach Frank Wright said that he had a bit of a setback over this past week. He was going to be the top backup behind Brian Burns and Justin Houston this year, and now that kind of leaves them kind of thin. They got Youre Gross-Matos, Amari Barno, who flashed a little bit in the preseason, and rookie DJ Johnson, who was drafted this year. Haynes had 5 sacks last year and 13 quarterback hits. He is a 2018 4th-round pick with 13 career sacks. How much does it affect the depth of the Panthers to not have Haynes there? Because I don't think any of us were expecting Houston to be like an every down in, right? So out of those names I mentioned, which one would you think could have the potential to potentially, I don't know, step up in that role as that third guy between Gross-Matos, Barno, DJ Johnson?
I mean, I think it's a huge hit just because of this whole Burns thing, right? I mean, look, we have no idea. We assume he's going to end up playing in the game Sunday, but there is a chance that he doesn't. And if that's the case, then you're down 2 guys at that position. So that's tough sledding against what's going to be arguably one of the top offensive lines in the NFL in Atlanta. So I think when you look at what they have there, let's just say Burns does play. Houston will play a lot. I think that was kind of early training camp talk, and they didn't know what they were really going to get out of him. I think he's going to play a lot of football. But I would probably lean Amari Barno, maybe. I think it's going to be kind of like a split between Barno and Youre. I think DJ's got a little bit ways to go before he's really kind of thrown into that rotation, but they seem to like the progress that he's made. So I think we'll see all 3 of those guys at some point. Maybe it's a rotation of all 3 until one or two of those guys kind of create separation for themselves.
What do you think, Stu? Out of those guys, and from what you saw preseason wise, who would you expect to step up, but who do you think was most likely to step up with the absence of Haynes?
I think Matos. I mean, I think he at the end of the day, I think he got a lot of scrutiny maybe when we got the signings during this offseason and training camp with Houston, and I think he's got something to prove, and I think he's gonna live up to that.
And this is a big year for him too. This is contract year also. And no 5th-year option. So if he wants to stick around Carolina or get that bag somewhere else, he's got to produce.
Yeah.
Put something on tape. Willie Smith, super fan for Bleav in Panthers, says solution for the Burns situation: good faith by Panthers. Pay Brian Burns money now, and when Bosa gets paid, if they are off, they pay him the difference. I don't think you can do that.
You can restructure deals, but you can't. Yeah. I don't think the teams are going to be willing to go and give more.
Yeah, I don't think
this ain't 7-Eleven where you asking for change, baby.
Give him a change, man. I don't think they can just keep adding money to it. Like, if any, I don't even think they can extend him for like a couple years after he signs this extension. So he would, whatever he signs, he's getting that unless they cut him or something, which would be weird.
And who knows what this is all tied up in? It could be as much as millions per year. It could be years. It could be guaranteed money. I mean, who knows what? I mean, there's a lot of things that could go into that. Incentives. that could be even a thing. You know,
maybe I could see the Panthers trying to tie a lot into incentives to make the amount
the deal
bigger.
a little bit richer,
Right? And I could see
might
Burns
initially
camp
look.
wanting to have it more just guaranteed. Like this,
Yeah, give that man some guaranteed money.
Yeah,
and let's get on about our business.
and that's the trick too for those watching at home. Like, don't get fooled by the big number. Because whatever number comes out is going to be a huge number. That's not what he's getting. He's getting the guaranteed money pretty much. So, like, follow the guaranteed money. So, like, when you saw Pat Mahomes get, what was it, $450 million or something like that over
$500 million.
His actual signing bonus and his guaranteed money was more like 160 or something like that. And that's what it'll allow him to basically re-up, like, I think next year or year after next. He'll be able to let them reset the market with the quarterbacks, which they did with Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson and all them. All Pat did was sit back and go, all right, cool. I'm going to just win this other Super Bowl.
I was about to say, spoiler alert.
He about to get in some Shohei Ohtani money. Like, he's going to be like in this $500 million type club. And he's what, 26, 25? Like, we got another decade of this. Like, Mahomes might get over $1 billion in NFL salary.
Patrick Mahomes got his own money.
Got his face on it and everything. Like, he's doing his thing.
Is he a president?
Yeah, in Kansas City he is. He's
speaking of Shohei Ohtani, I think we got the college football version of that with Travis Hunter. If that dude, he could be a first-round pick either way.
I was going to ask y'all about that because I didn't put it in the write-up, but I thought about it when we were talking at the very beginning of this show. Man, who looks worse today? Florida State for not hiring Dion when he wanted to go there?
I mean, hey, they blew out LSU, so I think they're doing okay right now. But.
They're doing okay. And then or Clemson. Good Lord. Clemson lost 28-7 to Duke.
Yeah, Clemson looking like a dang like a high school team out there.
Honestly, the team that looks the worst in all this is TCU, because not only did they lose to Dion, but Dion was actually, I believe, interviewed for that.
He did.
So their last two losses was that 63-7 blowout to Georgia in the national championship, and then now the game that nobody's even talking about. Any other games? Everyone's acting like college football was real competitive this weekend. There was like 3 competitive games, and this Colorado TCU game was one of them. I was leaving the house in the first quarter. So I was like, it's on this big Sunday, Fox or whatever. Let's see what Coach Prime doing. And I left because I was like, I mean, it's Colorado won 1 game last year. How much could he change?
So, Desmond, are you a believer?
I believe. I was going to clip that, actually. I'm going to use it on our show of Dion going, do you believe now? Do you believe? Like, I'm clipping it. I'm going to go get it as the show's over, matter of fact.
That should be the opening of our show.
Yeah. Something in me was like, because I have Sirius XM in my car. I was like, something in me was like, let me check on this game about halfway through it. And I found it on Mad Dog Sports, and it was like third quarter, and Colorado was leading. And I'm like, what is going on? And you just felt it through the radio. Like, them kids, man. I know he built his team in the portal, but still.
And I'll beat all the haters to the punch. We know TCU ain't what they were last year.
Yeah.
But to go into that environment, like first-time coaching staff, you got Deion Sanders' son, like with all the pressures coming from Jackson State as a quarterback and the expectations that, were given to this team, they rose above all of it. They made some mistakes out there, but I can tell you what, they are playing loose.
Yeah.
And when you got a team that can play loose, which means, hey, go make a play. Even if you mess up, I still want you to go out there and make a play.
You realize too, like Travis Hunter was doing that in 100-degree weather. Like, he was playing.
Yeah.
How many snaps did he play? Like 100 snaps?
110 in 100-degree weather.
And if you look at their schedule, like, I mean, if they play the way they did against TCU, I mean, I could easily see them winning 9-10 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm scared for my Ducks, man.
Yeah, man, you should be, because this squad, they got some ballers on this squad. Shedeur Sanders, you think he's they were kind of hitting that at the beginning. Do you think he's going to go top 5 in a draft if he play? I mean, if he plays like this, I mean, he threw for 500.
Yeah, I mean, it is 1 week. I do give him credit, but this is overreaction week 1, right? We always do this.
Yeah, always do it.
Hey, my guy Geno Smith. My guy Geno Smith had the Heisman after week 5 his senior year. I mean, he had at 5, or I think it was like 4 or 5 games.
Look at Geno now. Look at Geno now.
It worked out. It worked out for Geno.
I think it was like 4 or 5 games into his senior season. He had more touchdowns than incompletions. So
wow. Let's see. Shedeur did for 500 yards and like 4 touchdowns, I think. I think he like 4 or 5 different guys caught touchdowns in that game. That interception.
Four guys, I think, had 100 yards receiving.
Yeah. Travis Hunter's interception at the goal line where he stretched out. That's inhuman. Yeah, like what? That's
kind of reminded me of Josh Norman 2014, 2015 when he had stretched his whole body out.
I think it was the Saints. Yeah, he went back he almost like Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch where he stretched out. I think I was in the end zone for that game. I think he had one against the Texans that year like that where he had to stretch out.
How do you actually stretch your body out like Gumby or something?
Yeah, and then land with no cushion, just boom, ship of turf. But no, and I'm glad you brought up Colorado because guess who they play next week? The Nebraska Cornhuskers and Coach Matt
Rule.
So we're going to be talking about that game next week.
Boy.
Nebraska did not look good last week. And,
if those 2 coaches aren't the most polar opposite.
I can't wait. I think it's a noon game too, so it might be the big Saturday game again for Fox. Why not? Just ride Dion all year. Who else you gonna play? Just put them on there. So we'll talk about it. That's coming. So next week we'll have Coach Prime versus Coach Rule, Nebraska and Colorado. We might adopt Colorado as our team here in the Bleav Panthers for the year. Panthers-Falcons preview. We don't really know a whole lot about Atlanta other than from what we got from last year. They're still kind of rebuilding. But what do you want to see in this game that we didn't see in preseason from the Panthers? Because the offense was very vanilla. Defense didn't really play. Burns didn't play. Houston didn't play. Very limited in terms of personnel. We expect all hands on deck this Sunday. What's something you want to see from the Panthers that you did not see in preseason? Stu, I'll let you go first.
I'd really like to just see, the offensive line just getting after it and just being tenacious in the running game. We already know they're going to run the ball. Schuyler hit on it earlier. One of their strengths is the offensive line. And so I want to make sure that we have more rushing yards than they do, period.
And Rob,
I would say probably defensively, just because we haven't seen that unit at all together in the preseason. Some of the starters played, some of them didn't. So I'm really interested to see what they do with Jeremy Chin. We kind of saw a little bit of that in August, but I think the possibilities with him are endless. And you get him and Justin Houston on the field. We haven't seen Justin Houston on the field. So what does that look like with Burns? If Burns is out there. But I want to see, I think, too, offensively, them establish a run game. Because I think in the preseason, you're trying to get your quarterbacks reps, but also you want to run the ball a little bit. But it's mainly to get Bryce Young those reps, get Matt Corral his opportunities when he was here. And I think because of that, you saw the slow starts offensively. I don't think you're going to see that when the regular season starts on Sunday. They're going to run the football,
Miles
smash mouth
Sanders.
Football.
I agree.
It's going to be a completely different look.
I'm excited to see what Miles Sanders adds to this offense. And I think he's going to be a great outlet in the passing game for Bryce when he's in trouble. But get that ball running with Miles and the rest of the crew early and often, and just make the game easier for Bryce and for the defense. When you're running the ball well, defense is off the field. So
and shrink the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to see who emerges from the wide receiving group as Bryce's favorite. I don't want to say as Bryce's number one, but clearly he's going to have a guy that he targets more than the rest of them probably. By the end of this game, we'll kind of have an idea comfort-wise who it is. Wouldn't mind it being Jonathan Mingo, to be honest. Go ahead and
I actually posted a video yesterday while I was talking to Adam Thielen in the locker room. I posted a video and I asked him about Mingo, and he was all over Jonathan Mingo. So I don't know if it's going to be right out of the gate. It may be something that takes a little bit of time, but I think the hype is real with Jonathan Mingo.
And also, I wouldn't mind the Panthers drafting Travis Hunter either. I'll just put that in existence. Let's just throw that out there. Let him play both ways. 95 Dallas Cowboy Dion style. Just let him go on out there and do.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but the 2024 NFL draft is deep with talent. But the problem is you don't have a first round pick.
Yeah, We got.
But
Fitty.
I guess the good way to look at it is if there's a year where you don't have a first-round pick, this would be the year to have it because you still got good talent in that second round.
True. And hey, we got Fitty. I ain't worried about it.
Yeah, Fitty can do all kinds of
stuff. They want. Yeah, Fitty will make it happen. So
Fitty magic.
Bleav in Fitty. We'll besides that, of course, I want to see how Bryce is with live bullets. Although at this point, I think we've crossed that bridge in terms of is Bryce mentally ready for the NFL or whatever. Bryce was ready when he was 5, apparently. Like he's literally just been preparing for this moment. So I ain't worried about him. Can you remember ever seeing Bryce Young rattled at any point, like at Alabama or anywhere? Like I'm trying to, there's got to be a situation where he was mad, or at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him frustrated at practice. Like he's, spike a ball into the ground, but like I think there's a huge difference between rattled and frustrated.
Yeah,
and I don't think that I've ever seen him rattled. Rattled to me is it's like he's shaken up. He can't overcome it. He can't overcome that adversity and move on to the next play. If Bryce has a bad play or the offense has a bad play, someone messes up, it's erased by the time he's back in the huddle. And I think that's what you need to have at this level. That's
a gift. Like because that's really hard to do for a lot of people.
It is, especially for someone trying to establish themselves in the league. Even though that you're the number 1 overall pick, like there's a ton of pressure and a ton of eyes on you to live up to those expectations. He does not care. Like he doesn't care that he was drafted number 1. He looks at it as I haven't done anything in this league. I have to earn that respect.
How refreshing is that? Like it's so refreshing to hear him. And I get it. People say he's boring and all this other stuff. And I get
that's
that.
Good.
You're used to Cam Newton and flamboyant outfits and all that kind of stuff and the personality. That's fine. Even Jake Delhomme, the Cajun in him, like he had that little kind of,
fire.
Yeah, he had a little something to him.
Jake had that fire.
Bryce ain't none of that. Bryce is like peanut butter on a saltine cracker. Like just literally it is what it is. This is what
consistent, and good. I know what I'm gonna get out of that.
In the end, if you need a pack of nabs, you get a pack of nabs. That's it. Like you're not getting anything, no jelly. There's no fizz.
Nah, man. Bryce got some jelly, man.
But he's gonna come through in the clutch every time. You may not think you need him, but he's gonna come through every time. And I think that's gonna be Bryce Young. So Bryce Young's gonna start off this odyssey where I've said that he's got the opportunity to become the Steph Curry of the NFL with everything thrown with him, the expectations, the pedigree, all that stuff. It'll start Sunday, 1:00. I try to leave out enough time here for us to get through this in full. The NFC, AFC division winners and wild cards. So what I did, I went and I wrote out like on mine, like what I thought would be for it. And we'll see if we can match it up. We can't do it exactly the way we did the win-lose thing because all 3 of us could pick 3 different teams like each time. So we'll kind of just figure out how this goes and see who talks who into what. So we'll start off. Let's start off with the East, NFC and AFC. In the East, who do you guys think is going to win the NFC East this year?
It's Philly again. I mean, they're just too talented. And I honestly think they're the best team. I put up my NFC power rankings today. See where the Panthers check out on there if you go to the site. But I think there's a huge difference huge drop off between Philly and the rest of the NFC. So I've got Philly.
Who do you think, Stu?
I am going to challenge that with the Giants.
Ooh.
Okay. The only thing that's the only thing that's stopping the Giants from winning is the injury bug. And I say that because the addition to Waller, I mean, good luck.
Oh yeah,
figuring that out.
He is.
I mean, you got depth at receiver with a bunch of guys that can get open. Sterling Shepard's back, so I mean, and then you got Saquon Barkley in the backfield. I mean, you throw a swing pass to Saquon, who you gonna cover? The tight end or the other 3 receivers?
And that defense is pretty good too.
And the defense is solid. So like the only weak point is legitimately if they get injured.
All right, so we got a problem here because I picked the Cowboys. Yeah. So they've gone 12 and 5. They've gone 12 and 5 the past 3 years. They probably have the best defense.
They about to get they gonna get the dog breaks beat out of them by the Giants twice. So
I don't know about all that.
And then Philly is Philly. So
Philly
they
lost.
might not. They might listen. The Dallas Cowboys might not win a game within their division this year.
Philly lost their offense and defensive coordinator last year to head coaching job, so I'm taking that into consideration.
Players play, coaches coach.
They lost some pieces of free agency, but they are probably the most complete roster.
Players play, coaches coach. Desmond,
you don't believe in the Super Bowl hangover?
Listen,
not with that team.
I don't think it's gonna be Kansas City. I ain't putting it on Kansas City. Like,
but here's the thing: what has Dallas done? I mean, we've heard for years this is Dallas's year, this is Dallas's year, and then they always fall short. So, like, to me, I'm with Stu in the fact that, like, if it's not Philly, it's New York. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
See, I'm still stuck on them winning 12 games the past 2 years. Like, they've been 12 and 5
listen,
years.
Listen, Linda. Listen. The Cowboys ain't got it, and they won't have it until they find it.
I'm gonna let y'all choose them between Philly and who'd you say? The Giants. I don't even know the Giants in the playoffs.
You see that right there?
Well, the Giants in the playoffs. I'm not saying
that's a giant bicep right there. So
I'm gonna redo this. So
I'll give the hat tip to Stu's former team. I'll go the Giants just because that would be my number 2. That'd be my number 2.
Okay.
I'm disappointed in both.
And you didn't have much argument to what I was saying.
No, did not. AFC East. I have Buffalo.
I'm going Buffalo, but I'm very tempted to go Miami, but I'm going to go Buffalo.
I'm going Buffalo as well.
Damn, no Jets love from nobody. That was kind of unexpected.
I feel like the Jets are going to get that. They're going to get Aaron
They're going to
Rodgers.
have that Russell Wilson, Denver Broncos type of season.
Aaron Rodgers is going to get sacked too many times.
I don't know if I wish that on my
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't put that out there. I swear
Aaron Rodgers,
that's not what's going to happen.
Aaron Rodgers dancing in airplane aisles like mid-season.
They'll be competitive. They'll be a lot better than the Broncos last year.
NFC West. I got San Francisco.
I'm going with
I thought
12s.
real hard about Seattle.
I'm going with the 12s.
I'm going with the 12s as well.
Ooh, all right. Yeah, everyone remember the ones that got consideration because they'll probably be back in the wild card conversation here. I would imagine NFC or AFC West.
Too easy.
AFC West.
Yeah, I don't even know why.
I don't know, man. I feel like Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. Chris Jones could be a factor, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think it matters if you can outscore everybody. The Kansas City's gotten to this point where it's like I just refuse to doubt them anymore. I did it at the very beginning and I burned for it. And
they turn it into Tom Brady, huh?
Pretty much, like they kind of inherited the throne. Like you would think Kansas City would have one off year, right? But is Mahomes even in his prime yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. That's scary. I don't even know.
And I feel like Travis Kelce is just probably like getting better as well, like just getting more craftier with his routes and more savvy.
Golly. Yeah. We got Seattle and Kansas City. NFC North.
Oh man, that's
I got you right here. Detroit Lions. Because and the only thing that's stopping Detroit Lions from winning is Goff. I'm gonna put it that way. Defense is solid. I can't wait to see Gibbs this year running around. You know what their commitment is. Their commitment is to hard nose, run the ball, play action, all those types of things. So they can't really shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to Muscles Marinara, who owns Monster Subs and Grub and Spartanburg. Hey, man, we need to talk to you because we're looking for sponsors. So,
yeah, man, we're trying to
holler. We're going to holler.
We're trying to get a sub sandwich on.
Yeah, buddy. And then a good point that Willie Smith makes: Philly has half the Georgia Bulldogs on their team. Like literally, the defense is Georgia, 2021 Georgia, pretty much. So it's how in the world did they get? Who was the guy that dropped? That they got like late top 10?
Kobe Dean last year.
This year they got
this year it was
the tackle. I can't remember his name. They were talking about going number 1.
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis. And he went, no, not Jordan Davis.
Or is it not Jordan Davis?
I can't remember. Somebody in the comments help us out, please. It's whoever it was like the top rated defensive tackle for Georgia. He dropped because he was that whole situation with the car racing or what? Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter, yeah.
Jalen Carter. Thank you, Kevin Leo.
Where the heck did I get that name from?
I know it was like Jordan Davis. I'm trying to think of who Jordan.
I'm making crap up.
Me, though. No, not him. I think
Jordan Davis was from Georgia too, right?
I think he was. Wasn't he like a safety?
Is he even a player? I don't
No,
know.
he was the real big dude. He was the real big D lineman. Like,
oh gosh, is he with the Bears?
No,
he is a football defensive tackle for the
Philadelphia Eagles.
No, he is with the Eagles.
He is with the Eagles.
Tried to say, man.
Yeah, man.
Y'all know
everybody on earth plays for the Eagles.
The big old Hulk-looking boy.
6'6", 335.
Yeah.
And he got drafted in 2022, so last year.
Yeah,
he was a top.
He went to Georgia. He went to Georgia too, right?
Yeah, so they got Davis.
So I'm not making crap up. I know what I'm talking about.
And y'all picked the Giants to win the East.
Yeah,
I think we need to reevaluate that. Like, I forgot all about them having all these Georgia kids, especially on defense. That's all right. Back to the action. NFC North. You said Detroit. I got Green Bay.
Well, we got a problem. We got a problem because I'm sticking with Kirkers in Minnesota.
I thought about
Justin Jettas. I mean,
you don't think that them losing Dalvin Cook and
I think losing Dalvin Cook's not nearly as big of a loss as losing Aaron Rodgers.
That's true. Although, again, I'm still sticking to my whole Jordan Love watched how Aaron Rodgers cooked dinner for 4 years, so he probably knows how to cook. It might not taste the same, but he kind of knows the motions, right? Like, how much further could it be?
Maybe.
And we've been hearing good things, but then again, it's preseason. You hear good things from every team pretty much coming out of training camp. We are at a stalemate in the NFC North. Detroit.
So by default, we'll give it to Chicago. No, I'm just kidding.
I think Detroit. I think Chicago's going to be I think Chicago's going to be picking high.
My number 2 in that division would probably be Detroit. I don't know about y'all.
I'd probably say the same. So if we both feel like that about Detroit, I'm okay with saying Detroit as long as Minnesota got into the playoffs.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why Minnesota is not going to win because of their defense. So I just feel like their defense isn't as strong as
Detroit's got
it needs to be.
Detroit's got better skill position players than Minnesota, except for Jefferson, of course. Jefferson's probably top 5.
He's probably top 2 or 3 player in the whole team.
Yeah, he might be number 1.
I'm telling you, man, it all falls on Goff at the end of the day for Detroit.
So it's more like who would you trust, Goff or Kirk Cousins?
Primetime Kirk Cousins.
I think I'd go with Goff. He's been to bigger play. He's won playoff games. He's been in the Super Bowl. He's won divisions.
Try to tell you,
I would go Detroit in the tiebreaker.
All right,
yeah, man. And I drive a Ford truck, so Detroit all the way, baby.
AFC North.
Make Barry Sanders proud.
This is where I ran into some problems. I picked Baltimore, and the reason why I picked Baltimore is Lamar Jackson's regular season record as a starter at quarterback in the NFL. Forget what he does in the playoffs. Forget what the team does. In fact, let me go look it up because his regular season record is ridiculous. And now he's got some weapons to throw to.
Got Odell.
I'm going off the wall for mine while you're looking that up.
He's 45-16 in the regular season. Oof. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't lose. If he's there, if he's playing now, he hasn't finished the past 2 seasons because of injury. But if he's out there, Baltimore more likely is going to win the game. So in the regular season. So I'm
gonna tell you why it's not Baltimore. And I love Baltimore's offense so much right now because of the addition to Odell Beckham. But again, their defense is missing a lot of people. They got too many holes to fill. And I'm not sure how that's going to look or turn out for them. I mean, shoot, we got Justin Houston. He played for the Baltimore Ravens last year. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like there's 2 other guys that are missing at least in that defense front. Yeah, see? So, That's where
I'm
you gotta
going.
go.
I'm going
Gotta go.
Pittsburgh.
Ooh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I did not expect that.
Because you got to think here. We don't know what Joe Burrow's injury situation is. It might be okay now, but it only takes one snap, and then all of a sudden things are falling apart for them. I got Pittsburgh because I think Kenny Pickett makes a decent step. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but he's going to be good enough. When you add what they have in the backfield with Harris and Jalen Warren and all the weapons that he has at receiver, that defense may end up being the best defense in that division. TJ Watt,
I'd say.
It's going to be it looks like the best division on paper, but I think it's going to be a lot of teams at like 10-7, 9-8, 8-9. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh just because I trust in Mike Tomlin.
I mean, I don't
You want to know what? I'm gonna go with that too. And Mike Tomlin,
I talked him into it.
Wow.
And Mike Tomlin,
wow.
we trust. And Mike Tomlin, we trust. Let's
the
go.
hell? Y'all gonna pick Pittsburgh to win this division with Cincinnati and Deshaun Watson running around in Cleveland?
Cincinnati is a
you make a lot of good
football
sense.
team, but Burrow may be coming out of the gates a little limping. I'm just saying, if they get out to a slow start, I mean, I don't know. And I know it's just preseason, but Pittsburgh looked good.
I think it's scary though with Cincinnati. I mean, if Burrow ain't gonna be hurt, man. Listen, I don't know. I'm I'm retracting my statements now.
But, yeah, let him keep on talking.
I feel like Cincinnati, like that receiving core with Joe Burrow. This is a third year.
Yeah. Third year.
Yeah.
Fourth, I think.
Fourth. So they've had 3 years.
Third or fourth.
Either way, the chemistry alone, when they're all on the field, I feel like that's a pretty scary situation.
So are you changing?
But I think that Mike Tomlin is prepared, and I feel like he's just Mike Tomlin, dog. Like he don't lose. I mean, he loses games, but as far as like having a winning record, he's proven that he does that.
See, I take care of the Yinzers.
Pittsburgh's probably got the best defense in this division, would you say?
Yeah,
absolutely.
TJ Watt.
And all we need is Pickett to, throw nice tickets.
I could see this division sending 3 teams to the playoffs, so I'm not too upset with Pittsburgh because I mean I'm about to write them in and it doesn't look right, but I can see a couple more coming out of the AFC North. Let's put a pin in that. Let's go to the NFC South.
We're not here to be boring. Also, we're gonna go off the rails a little bit.
We're gonna think into the future.
We
can see into the future, bro.
No one thought Detroit was going to be as good as what they were here. So.
That's true, and that's something to keep in mind. There's always a couple of teams that were horrible the year before that pop up in the playoffs the next year, or one team that just does the St. Louis Rams, the 99 Rams turnaround, where it's all of a sudden they're like the 1 seed and they made a couple moves and it all worked out. I don't know who that's going to be. I don't know if that's Detroit, but we got them winning the North. The NFC South, previously on Bleav in Carolina Panthers, last week we picked the Panthers to go 10-7 against the schedule that they have. Is that enough to win the NFC South?
Yes.
10 wins is, yeah.
I think so. Are we a collective agreement the Panthers are winning the South?
Yes, me and Desmond believe so. So we
All
move on to the next topic.
I'll just
Go Carolina.
So I got Carolina there.
I think the Saints win it, but because I did my actual predictions this morning, and I have Carolina going. I think it was 8-9, finishing tied for second with the Falcons. So I've got Saints winning it, but I'm outnumbered here, so Carolina it is.
Yeah,
Carolina it is, man. That was nice. That was nice that you shared that with us.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I do think that. Actually, nope. I don't even have New Orleans in the playoffs. I think I did it the very minute I changed it. What was I thinking? Okay.
I honestly feel like the NFC South is about to get ran through. That's just
I think so too. Like if everything works out, we stay healthy.
Depth is a big problem, though, man.
Depth is a big problem, but it could be a problem for everybody else too.
There's a chance for people to step up. We're not expecting to step up. That's how. There's some dude out there They're already on the roster. I've been here for a couple of years and never got a chance to really shine. Now with a new coaching staff, we can see what they can do. So I'm kind of holding out hope with that. But yeah, I got Carolina winning the South at 10-7. So they'll probably be the 4th.
Someone said, Schuyler, your Panther fandom is revoked.
Try again next year, buddy. AFC South. I picked Jacksonville.
Wait, where are we going? AFC what?
AFC South.
Oh, yeah, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Not even a question.
Yeah, that division looks like a dumpster fire.
I feel like Titans going to be real bad. Like, the offensive line didn't look that great last year, and it's probably not that great this year.
The Colts look like they might be fun to watch, but they're not going to win a lot. And the Texans, I don't even know what the plan is with who's the quarterback for Houston?
Stroud.
CJ Stroud, bro.
So
don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Completely.
Reboot.
So we got NFC East champs, the New York Football Giants, the AFC champs, the Buffalo Bills, NFC West, Seattle Seahawks. Did we do that right? Yeah. AFC West, Kansas City, NFC North, Detroit, AFC North, Pittsburgh, NFC South, Carolina, AFC South, Jacksonville. We have 3 wild card spots for each division still to fill. In the NFC, I think you kind of need to put
Philly
and the Eagles, right? We did, because the Eagles, you got the Giants winning the NFC East. I mean,
yes, definitely Philly.
Yes, Philly, the 49ers. The 49ers have the best defense in the whole conference, right?
Yeah, it just comes down to quarterback play with them. I mean,
no, I think the 49ers. I picked the 49ers.
But I would go with San Fran. My third choice would be, I guess, Minnesota, since y'all leaving them out. But that's comes down to what y'all think.
Defense is terrible, man.
I would rather have Green Bay, to be honest.
Love, Mr. Love.
I think so.
It's love season.
I think so. I mean, they got a good running game. They always keep offensive line. The defense is okay. But for that division, I don't know. Man. I don't know.
Let's do a corn flip
between Green Bay and.
I'm gonna do a cap though.
Yeah,
there you go. Open cap.
Yeah.
Open cap, closed cap.
All right, so open cap is going to be Green Bay. Closed cap be Minnesota.
It was blue. Open cap.
So what did I just say? Was it open cap Green Bay?
Yeah, open cap Green Bay.
We're going to go Green Bay here?
Y'all
final wild card spot?
Jordan Love.
Because I assume the final wild card spot we're picking is going to be the 7th seed. Because it's the last team that we landed on for the playoffs on both sides. So I'm all right with Green Bay slipping in at 7. I'd pick them before New Orleans or Atlanta or the Commanders. Well, what? I think I had Washington originally on my thing. I did.
We left Dallas out also.
Oh, crap. Dallas.
Nah, Dallas ain't. I already told y'all what Dallas is going to do.
Dude, they won.
I already told y'all what Dallas is going to do this year.
They have a good defense. Dallas has a really good defense. Now, I don't know if Mike McCarthy's going to make a difference calling plays. Because Kellen Moore
if they figured that out, calling plays with that man, then they might be all right. But I think they tainted. They tainted. The locker room is tainted. It's bad business. If you're betting on Dallas, don't do it.
We really gonna pick the Cowboys to miss the playoffs completely?
Yeah.
With a 17.
Because you got the Giants and Philly. They got to play how many times, Des?
Twice each.
Twice. How many times they gonna win? How many times they gonna win though? How many times they gonna win?
I think they can at least split with the Giants. I'm not scared of the Giants. I ain't worried about the Giants like y'all are. Like the Giants don't faze me at all. Like bring them on. The Giants.
You're gonna see week 1. Daniel Jones gonna have about 400 yards passing, about 100 yards rushing. Saquon gonna have a $120.
I feel that
about 100 yards receiving out the back. It's gonna be weird. It's weird. But listen, adding Waller to that offense changes the whole complexity of who the Giants are.
So if you had to pick between Green Bay, Minnesota, and Dallas for the 7th seed in the playoffs this year, with the way they're all constructed, y'all are telling me you would pick the other 2 teams before Dallas?
Yes.
When Dallas has been the most consistent out of those three?
I would say Dallas and Minnesota over Green Bay. I don't like Green Bay at all.
I'd pick Dallas for Green Bay.
All right, we can go Kirk Cousins. Dallas, listen, Dallas is getting up there in age too now on the offensive line.
Still don't know what we got with Dak. Threw 15 interceptions last year. I don't know what he's doing. He's in the third year.
I'm not blaming anything on Dak this year. They just not going to be able to win any games for whatever the reason.
I would compromise with Minnesota.
There it is.
I'm gonna put them in. So all right, bye.
Jonathan Stephen A. Stewart.
AFC wild cards.
Because look, last year I was high on Dallas last year, and you want to know what?
They made the wild card.
They burned you.
They made the wild card.
They can make anything they want to make, but the way they went out last year, that was not the coaching, the franchise, just everything about it. Like they not prepared, they not ready, they don't have it in their bone or DNA.
You just reminded me of Zeke's last play in a Dallas Cowboy uniform that last
game
where they lined him up at center with no one. And
like you got that man,
3 dudes just rolled him over.
You got boys out there looking like they don't know how to play football because you calling stuff that's like, what was that?
Okay, I'm fine with the Vikings. Now, AFC wild card, we got some work to do here because I refuse to believe the Jets aren't going to make the playoffs. I don't know about winning the Super Bowl, but they got enough. The defense alone and Aaron Rodgers, there's enough for the Jets. I'm going to put the Jets on here because
put the Jets.
That sound right. Then there's Miami.
Dolphins get in too?
Yeah, Miami needs to probably be in there too, which means the AFC East would send 3 teams, just like the who do we have on the other side that did that? Nobody did on the other side. It was 2-2-2. So
then you're basically down to the Chargers and another AFC North team.
Chargers or
who do we put in the AFC North to win? Do we go Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
So you got to go Cincinnati, right?
Well, Baltimore.
Man, I love Baltimore, man, but they defense. I don't know nothing about their defense.
I'm telling you, he's had this defense the whole time he's been there. Lamar Jackson is 45-16 as a starter in his career.
Can he stay healthy?
I don't know.
This is not a conversation about Lamar Jackson. This is about their defense.
But he's had that defense and still won 45 games.
No, their defense was better.
To me, it's a health thing. He's only played 12 games, I think, in each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's missed the bottom end of the past 2 seasons. He just got that bag though, 240-something million or whatever. He finally got his money. Somebody's not getting in, is what we're saying. Baltimore, Cincinnati, and both.
Man, go ahead and put Baltimore on there, man.
So Cincinnati's.
Joe Cool's gonna miss out. Okay.
Either.
Can we start over?
I think we need to revisit this this AFC North winner.
Man, for people that do these predictions, bro, kudos to y'all because this is hard. This is a really hard mess to make.
Pittsburgh is sticking out like a sore thumb right now as a division winner.
We got to go back. Listen,
cross that out.
Cincinnati. Put Cincinnati
as the division winner.
Yeah.
Which one's
Cincinnati? Yeah, Cincy.
I'm okay with that.
And then Lamar Jackson, them Ravens, they're gonna find a way.
Baltimore. All right.
Then we just gonna be looking at the end of the season like, dang, Pittsburgh almost did it.
They still got that above 500 though. It just didn't get in.
That is correct. That is correct.
I'm cool with that. That works. In Pittsburgh, it feels like they need another draft, get some more pieces for Pickett. I think, okay, cool. I didn't think that was going to happen, but I talked you out of Pittsburgh. I'm very pleased. Because this whole thing was about to get really weird when we got into the playoffs. So you got AFC, Bills, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Jacksonville. Your wild cards are the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens. That sounds hard. There is no easy matchup in there at all. In the NFC, it's the Giants, Seattle, Detroit, Carolina. The wild cards are Philly, 49ers, Vikings. I don't know how they do these playoffs. I'm trying to figure out how to make this bracket here. So we got to seed these. Who's the 1 seed in the NFC? Out of these? Wait, hold on. I just went back and looked at this again. How do we get the Giants, the Seahawks, the Lions, and the Panthers as the division winners in the NFC. What did we do?
NFC.
We did not drink. We did not consume any alcohol before this episode.
It's lunchtime. Like we didn't even touch anything yet. Wow. And we got Philly, the 49ers, and the Vikings in the wild card. So it sounds like okay, Seattle and the 49ers are going to be battling for the West. And it sounds like Seattle and the 49ers are going to have like the two best records. With the 49ers by default will get that top wild card. So, and we already said Carolina's winning 10 games, so that's not going to be the one. So are we picking Geno and the Seahawks to be the 1 seed? Is that right? Yeah. Which means the 49ers would be the 5th seed. Second. You're basically making me pick between the Giants and the Lions for the 2 seed.
I would go Giants.
Giants.
Which would same situation. They'd probably fight in Philly. So Philly would probably be the 6th. And then you got Detroit and Carolina.
Detroit, just for experience.
Yeah. And that would make the Vikings the 7th seed. So you got Seattle at 1, Giants at 2, Detroit 3, Carolina 4, 49ers 5, Philly 6, Vikings 7.
And I'll tell you the reason why the Seattle situation makes sense, because the Cardinals gonna get they butt torn.
Oh, yeah, they're getting ran through this year. Like
the Rams are bad.
Like they know
the Rams are bad. So these two teams are going to be
4 wins right there.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
that's an excellent point. That's 4 wins. So so they'll have that stacked with them. AFC, who's the 1 seed in the AFC? You got Bills, Kansas City, Cincy, or Jacksonville?
Kansas City.
I'll
go bold for my number 2 and say Jacksonville.
I was just thinking that. Like, there's something going – but same situation. They're in a really bad conference or division, so they can stack up some division wins against the likes of Indy and Houston, the Titans. Yeah, so they're – I think Jacksonville might be the 2. And then you got the Bills.
That's a good call, Schuyler.
I think the Bills and Cincy are in 2 tough divisions. Which one would you say is tougher, the AFC North or the AFC East?
I would say the Bengals would have the toughest route, so I'd say they'd be 4.
Yeah, and that would make
Buffalo
the 3. So that'd make the Jets probably. Actually, let's see. If Kansas City's the 1, nobody else made it out of the AFC West. You got the Jets and Miami in the wild card. If the Bills are 3. Actually, you might have to switch that because you got 2 teams coming out of here in the wild card. You got Jacksonville at 2. You might have to make Jacksonville 3 because whoever comes out of that AFC East is going to have a pretty good record if 3 teams made the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So I think you got to switch Jacksonville to 3 and make the Bills the 2. And then that would be whoever came in second in the AFC East is probably your top wild card. So who comes in second, the Jets or Miami? Damn, this is hard. It shouldn't be this hard.
I'll go Jets.
Got a lot of hype. They got a better defense than Miami. Better quarterback than Miami.
Yeah.
Ron. Ron. We're going to go to them 5th. Baltimore and Cincy would probably be fighting for the AFC North. And we got Cincy as the 4 seed. So I think that would make Miami the 6 and Baltimore the 7. So you got Kansas City 1, Bills 2, Jacksonville 3, Cincy 4, Jets 5, Miami 6, Baltimore 7. All right. How do I I'm trying to figure out how they do the seeding now with the 7 seed because there's always high seed advances or whatever, right? So I'm trying to find one that's got the thing in it. I just need to know the first round so I know how to make this. Hold on. I'm going to the NFL website. Just conversate amongst yourselves real quick while I try to figure this out.
Schuyler.
I think it's
Go ahead.
Schuyler, how's West Virginia going to be this year?
We don't need to bring that up.
Let's see.
Man, all I'll say is they hung around for a half.
Where'd they hang out at?
Penn State.
Where they go hang out at? Penn State?
But they, second half,
The NFL thinks
they didn't do too well.
Yeah, they was that. They must have had too much.
But
too many
they
hot
got
dogs during halftime.
They got Duquesne this week, so
Who?
DeQuesne.
Duke-
That sound like my cousin. DeQuesne.
Duquesne. We call him Duquesne. Yeah.
All right. How does the seeding work in the NFL playoffs? The 1 seeds in each conference receive a first round bye. The 2 seed hosts the 7. Okay. So that means Giants versus Vikings.
Mm-hmm. You know what's going to happen there.
And then you got the 3
4
versus the
4 and
6.
5 and the 3 and 6.
Yeah. So you got Detroit is the 3. Taking on the 6, which is Philly. and then you got the 4 and 5 seeds playing each other on Super Wild Card weekend. So that's Carolina and
Desmond, I'm really glad that you're doing all this work for us.
It's hard, man. I'm sitting there trying to I'm trying to put it all together. I should have thought about it more when I came up with the idea because this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. And I did not expect Carolina to be playing the 49ers in the first round. And then I think it goes high seed after that. Is that okay? 4 seed. Okay. And then
4 versus 5. The winner of 4 or 5 plays the 1, and then the 3-6 winner plays the 2-7 game.
Okay. So the winner of Carolina and 49ers will play Seattle. And you said what was the other one, Schuyler?
The winner of 3-6 plays the 2 versus 7.
Okay. The winner of 3-6 plays. Oh, they played the winner of 2-7. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I thought the second seed got a bye.
Not anymore.
Oh, it's just the 1 seeds. That you're right. Okay. So the 2 seed does not get a bye. All right. Okay. So now I got that there. I'll let y'all figure out this while I drop the AFC. That 2 versus 7 wildcard weekend. Giants versus Vikings.
Giants. Not even close. Yeah. I hate to admit it.
Giants. I'll save that one. The 3 versus 6 Detroit Philly.
Philly with the upset.
With the yeah. It's like upset.
Sounds weird to say.
Yeah. And then the 4 seed Carolina versus the 5 seed 49ers. Carolina would be hosting that since there's a high seed. Huh.
Stu, you go first.
You scared, Schuyler? You scared?
I'm a little nervous myself.
I'm gonna go 49ers.
I'll go Niners.
That would be a good season, right? Like if Carolina
absolutely
10-7 wins the division, gets to the playoffs. That would be a good season.
I would like to be, proven wrong, obviously. And it's not even a prove. I just feel like the seasoned team there wins the game.
This is crazy. I'm writing out the NFC one right now. This is nuts. You got Giants. Well, here, hold on. Before we go to the divisional round, let's do the AFC. So you got the 2 seed Bills versus Baltimore.
Bills.
I don't know. It would be in Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're
January. Yeah,
that's tough.
I don't know. What do you think, Stu? I mean, Baltimore's got some weapons for Lamar now. That's been their kind of.
I feel like Baltimore. I feel like Lamar going to prove a lot of people wrong this year about the whole playoff thing.
So we can, and it is towards the end of that Bills window that I've always said about 3-4 years. They've been kind of sniffing around for 3 or 4 years. Somebody might step up. It might be. I think I'm gonna go Baltimore too. That's a big.
I definitely went from Pittsburgh to Cincy to now Baltimore. just to let you guys know.
Baltimore. I'm gonna put Baltimore in before we change our minds again. The 3 seed Jacksonville versus the 6 seed Miami. That would be in Miami. Oh no, that'd be in Jacksonville.
Ooh,
I think I might go Jacksonville on that
yeah.
one.
They just got so many
Jacksonville.
playmakers, man. They got
Yeah.
a lot of playmakers.
Calvin Ridley's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I forgot they picked him up. I keep forgetting they picked him up.
Evan Ingram had a great year last year.
So that's Cincinnati, the 4 seed versus the 5 seed New York Jets. Wow. Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Burrow in a wild card round.
The Jets defense, man.
Oh, we've seen Cincy kind of take defenses like that apart, like Buffalo. I don't know if it would phase Joey Cool, but it's the Jets. Like they've been hyping them up the whole year.
I feel like the Jets got this this thing about them.
Robert Saleh he's a defensive mastermind. So I've got to go New York.
All right, so Jets. So we got Baltimore, Jacksonville, New York Jets, Kansas City in the divisional round AFC. Back over in the NFC, Giants, Philly, divisional round. The Giants are the 2. Philly is the 6. This would be in New York at MetLife.
Philly.
Yeah, because I was never high on the Giants to begin with. Y'all, I don't even know how they got here. Like, so I'm going with Philly too. Like,
it's because I persuade you guys.
You really did. And then, but like Philly is the Georgia Bulldogs from the past 2 years on defense. Like, I don't know if Danny Dimes can deal with that a third time. Yeah, Philly's probably been dead. And then you got 49ers versus the 1.
Don't be surprised, though. Don't be surprised.
Nothing surprises me anymore in the NFL. And actually, as I'm looking at this bracket, I'm like,
it could be a New York Super Bowl this year if you keep messing around.
You know, there's a lot.
That's what they want.
On that, yeah. Jets and Giants in the Super Bowl. Golly. 49ers, Seattle. 49ers are the 5 seed. Seattle's the 1. So this would be at the 12th man in Seattle.
You know what? I'm going Seattle.
I was leaning that way too. We high on Seattle.
Gino, man.
Gino the dog.
Yeah. We high on Seattle. And then over in the AFC, Baltimore, Jacksonville, 2 versus no. Jacksonville would actually host that. Jacksonville was the 3. Baltimore was the 7. So it'd be in Jacksonville. Home to more Waffle Houses than any city in America.
Duval.
That was impeccable timing.
Who y'all got here?
Jinx again.
We said that this would be a coming out party for Lamar Jackson in these playoffs. Is this?
I'm going Duval.
That would be the storyline, right? And then then
Jacksonville needs another year.
Duval came and showed out.
Jacksonville needs another year, I think.
I don't.
Right. No,
I don't think so.
All right, Lamar, you got your 1 playoff win. The buck stops in Jacksonville. Go get you a grand slam. Jacksonville is in the AFC Championship game. And then Jets, Kansas City at Arrowhead.
Kansas City.
Patrick Mahomes.
Is it a failure if the Jets don't make it to the Super Bowl this year?
Nah. I think they view this as like a 2-year thing, maybe 3-year.
Best case, Jacksonville.
It's going to be very hard for them to go to the Super Bowl with Kansas City.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like, we went and got one of the GOATs, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but Pat Mahomes is still around, and that might not even matter. Like, what do you do? So you got a championship weekend or Sunday, Philly versus Seattle in the NFC, Jacksonville versus Kansas City in the AFC. I do not want to have the same. I do not think it's going to be Philly and Kansas City in the Super Bowl again.
I think I'm going Seattle and Kansas City.
Wow. I almost want to go the other way. I almost feel like Philly, Jacksonville. But I believe in the curse. We've got both the teams from the Super Bowl last year going deep in the playoffs this year. One of these teams is going to suck. I don't know. It'll be unexplainable. Like, it'll be like, why are they losing these games? Super Bowl hangover. Like, it happens every year. Every year, there's one of the 2 teams in the Super Bowl just falls back to earth the next year. And
I don't see it being Kansas City.
I don't think it's Kansas City. I think it might be Philly, but Philly's still got a good roster.
I don't feel like it's Philly either. Like,
I don't know.
I'm going repeat, baby.
Repeat. Philly, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Who did you pick, Schuyler?
Seattle and Kansas City.
I kind of Yeah, I like Seattle, but I don't know if I like them that much. Like to get all the way to the Super Bowl, like over Philly.
Schuyler out here being reckless.
I'm tripping the Dallas ain't in this playoff bracket at all. Like that.
I'm being very colorful with my predictions.
Well, let's go. Okay, let me do AFC then. Jacksonville, Kansas City. We all in agreement it's going to be Kansas City?
Yeah. I am.
Still?
Patrick Mahomes.
All right, so Kansas City goes to their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years, I think. And trying to repeat. First team to repeat since the Patriots, 2003, 2004. So, wow, it's been 20 years since we've had a repeat Super Bowl winner. Back to Philly, Seattle. I can't. I just I can't.
I'm going with the Eagles.
I almost want to go back and switch my vote to 49ers. Because I feel like the 49ers would beat the Eagles before the Seahawks would.
I feel like that.
So should we change?
But
then see, I mean, Seattle's losing first round. They're the 1 seed or division round.
Nah.
I mean, we've seen it happen. Aaron Rodgers did it last year, or well, he won a 1 seed. It was 2 years ago, yeah, when he did it. But 49.
All I know is the predictions are just predictions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can't be so stuck on your predictions because a lot of things are going to change after week 1.
Yeah.
So
yeah, first half. Abandon the plan. Are we going to just say, let's just take a vote between Philly and Seattle?
Just go Philly, Kansas City.
I think that's where we're leaning. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to go down that way. Like, how do we do this?
You should do Desmond. You should go put $100 on that bet.
I might.
It's going to be a repeat.
That it's not going to be Philly versus Kansas City?
At Bet Online.
Yeah.
Where the game begins.
And that's a perfect segue for the end of this here. So I guess it's Philly and Kansas City. Who wins Super Bowl?
Welcome to the Bleav in Panthers Network.
Who wins Super Bowl 58?
Make your bets.
Philly, Kansas City rematch.
Kansas City.
I might go Philly if that's the case. If Philly got this far, Jalen Hurts is in year 3. They got a better defense than Kansas City. They don't have Pat Mahomes. And Pat proved last year it don't even matter who you put out at wide receiver.
Man, listen.
Throwing curls to Sky Moore. Like, nobody knew who Sky Moore was until Super Bowl 57. Like, what? Should we even play this season? Should this season even be played? Because, like, we're basically saying Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl, no matter what anybody does.
Football absolutely needs to be played.
Philly, Kansas City. I think, are we picking Kansas City?
Yes. Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl last year with a high ankle sprain. Come on.
That's the easy take, fellas. Like, we picked the number 1 team in the league the past 5 years to win the Super Bowl.
I tried to get y'all to go on Pittsburgh, but
it's not the easy take. It's the right take.
We were pretty different in our predictions, but we still ended up with the same result.
The route ended to it still got us to grandma's house. Like, we just took a different way. All right, so Kansas City. So we got. Well, and I'm gonna hold on to this. We'll see what happens, but
yeah.
Philly, Seattle in the NFC Championship, Jacksonville, Kansas City in the AFC Championship, Kansas City, Philly rematch Super Bowl. Kansas City becomes the first repeat Super Bowl winners in the past 20 years since the Patriots did it.
We can delete this episode, right? If it's that bad.
Oh yeah, like this thing can vanish.
Never happened.
Kansas City was going to win the Super Bowl. Where? We didn't say that anywhere. We got to go. We'll be back next week. We'll recap the Panthers game against Atlanta. I'm sure we'll have some Telly Molly mad at that point because we have gone through a week. We're keeping up with Coach Prime. Colorado's got to play Matt Rule in Nebraska next week, so we'll probably talk a little bit about that. I'm sure Matt Rule will say something about the Panthers in that in that pregame or postgame. I don't know what, but he'll mention us in some way. So we'll talk about that, guys. Again. You can follow us on the Bleav Podcast Network. The audio will be up a little bit later in the day. The videos at YouTube at youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Go hit that subscribe button, pound that, and you'll get notifications for when we're about to come back on live again the following week. Guys, anything else before we get out of here?
Don't think so.
Philly, Kansas City. We got Philly, Kansas City. We just spent 35 minutes to get to Philly, Kansas City.
And the Cowboys ain't had nothing.
The Cowboys didn't make the playoffs. Like, I'm just, man. Look, we've been brought to y'all by Bet Online. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Sorry to the Cowboy fans out there. I know y'all are all over the place. Hey, prove them wrong, man. Make playoffs. Win a game. Win a playoff game. Do something. We've got to go. It's the Bleav in Panthers podcast brought to you by Bet Online. Everybody keep pounding. We'll see you next week.